everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Iona Athletics Podcast, your source for all the latest news surrounding the Iona Gaels. I'm your host, Mike Phillips. I got a good show for you this week. We're going to be joined in the studio in just a bit by two members of the golf team, Oisin Devereaux and Justin Berghammer. Golf season getting back underway. We'll catch up with them. Be sure you stay tuned to the end of the podcast for this week's upcoming schedule, including the schedule for the basketball programs at the MAC Championships down in Atlantic City. But we'll get it all started with this week's upcoming recap, and then we'll start that right now. One note, news-wise, Leonard Career from 2012 alumni participated in the men's U.S. Olympic marathon trials, finishing in fourth place at a time of 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 6 seconds, missing automatic qualification for the Olympics by just 3 seconds. He was bidding for his second consecutive appearance at the Olympics. Going to Monday, March 2nd, women's basketball loses to Manhattan, 59-47. Senior Morgan Rayque led all scorers with 18 points on 6 threes, matching a career high for the senior on senior night. Led to Tuesday, March 3rd. Lacrosse beats Sacred Heart 13-6 at Mazzella Field. The Gaels scored 9 goals in the second half, 9, including 5 from Catan Brisbane. Go to Wednesday, March 4th. Baseball loses at Fairleigh Dickinson 12-11. I actually trails in this game 12-2. Scored 9 runs over the final 4 frames, but could not complete the comeback. Owen Christie went 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, 4 RBIs, including his first career collegiate home run. Will Jennings also drove in 3 for Iona. Men's basketball loses on senior night to Quinnipiac 69-68, missing the game-winning shot at the buzzer. E.J. Crawford led Iona with 17 points. Isaiah Washington had a big night, 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. We'll go ahead to Thursday, March 5th. Women's basketball losing at Marist, 59-47. Iona was down 20 at the half for a late comeback, fell just short. Morgan Rayque leads Iona with 17 points. We'll go ahead to Friday, March 6th. The softball team lost 6-0 to Stony Brook at the DeMarie Tiger Clash. Men's basketball drops their season finale at St. Peter's 68-65. The Peacocks hit a game-winning 3 with just 8.6 seconds to go. E.J. Crawford led Iona 22 points, 8 of 15 shooting. Led to Saturday, March 7th. Lacrosse lose at home to UMass Lowell 12-5. The Gaels got just 5 goals on 24 shots. Leah Marshall had 2 of those. Softball lost a pair, 7-1 to Stony Brook, 3-0 to Mercer at the DeMarie Tiger Clash. Alana Evans had a complete game in Game 1, season-high 10 strikeouts there. Baseball loses the first of a weekend set to Fordham 5-1. Women's basketball falls at St. Peter's 55-50. St. Peter's scores 31 the final frame to come back and stun Iona for the win there. Juana Camillion had a team-high 14 in that contest. Led to Sunday, March 8th. Women's water polo drops a pair at the Harvard Invite, falling 14-3 to Salem in the morning and losing a 15-14 3-overtime thriller to Brown. Carson Stewart had 5 goals in game number 2. Jordan Van Rieken, Lauren Rocket each had hat tricks in Game 2. The baseball team, they get swept in a doubleheader at Fordham. Softball, they beat Towson 5-1 at the DeMarie Tiger Clash. Get home with a victory. Natalia Murray homers, drives in 3 for Iona. Cara Cesaro earns a complete game victory there. And finally, the track and field team wraps up the indoor season at the ECAC and IC4A Championships out in Boston. Some highlights to note. In the men's 3K race, Jack Hopkins finishes second in 8 minutes and 5.22 seconds. Jamie D comes in 14th at 8 minutes, 23.48 seconds. They were the top 2 MAC finishers in that event. Jenna Null from the women's side runs the 3,000-meter race, finishes third in 9 minutes, 28.55 seconds. A new personal best and the top MAC finisher there. And that will do it for a very busy week in Iona Athletics. Stay tuned for our interview with Justin Berghammer and Oisin Devereaux right after this.
4! Fine shot.
All right, we are back here on the Iona Athletics Podcast. Joining us today, 2 members of the reigning MAC champion golf team. We have Oisin Devereaux and Justin Berghammer in the studio with us today. Guys, welcome. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks.
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Got to say, we talked to Coach Burke earlier this year. Nice to actually get some of you guys in the podcast this time. So,
Yeah, Coach Burke. He's a little bit iffy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a shaky guy, but
Yeah.
we deal with him all the time, so it's nice.
Yeah. You guys have any good stories about Coach Burke?
Oh, I don't know if we're allowed to say it on here.
Yeah, I don't know if good stories, but a lot of good memories of them, obviously. Stuff that we'll remember for the rest of our lives, and he'll always be a part of it.
Yeah, he's a great coach, but he's more of a friend to us too, which is nice. So we kind of have that bond with him, and that's part of the reason why we play well.
Yeah, it's definitely nice for sure. And I also got to say, like, I talked to him earlier this year, and like this is right before you guys went out to Dublin and won the UCD Challengers Cup. How awesome was that to be able to bring that back home?
Yeah, no, it's a great tournament. We were very fortunate that we get to go over to Ireland. It's tough, but winning it's a nice boost for the year, and it kind of gives us the confidence to go on and win more, hopefully.
Yeah, it's nice for Waves to get back at some of his other fellow Irishmen and bring the cup back to the States. It's always nice it's always nice little bragging rights for us, which is always good.
It is definitely nice. And before we dive in, I want to ask you guys, what do you love the most about being a golfer, about the game of golf? I'll throw it to Justin first.
Okay, I say it's probably just because it's yourself. So it's something that you have no one else to blame but yourself. So it's always like a team sport. You're like a baseball team. You got people out there that someone can make a mistake, and then the whole team suffers. But golf's just all about you. So if you mess up, it's on you. You can't blame anybody else. So I like that aspect of it, and I like being able to go out and if I don't play well, I know it's my doing. I can't really blame anybody else.
It's the least athletic sport, so I like it that way. I don't have to do much, but it's fun. As Justin said, it's a very personal sport. You're very out one with yourself on the golf course, so like that example you gave, you're not really relying on others. You're just it's you, yourself, and I. So that's why I like it.
Yeah, it definitely makes some sense to me. And you brought up the whole story about, golfers aren't athletes. They're just hitting clubs all day. So I'll give you a chance to go out there and say, like, what's the harder part of being a golfer? Like the physical part of, like, hitting the strokes and figuring out, like, I got to hit this shot perfectly, or is it the mental game? Like, do I use this club? How I read the green? Like, what do you think is the harder part?
We do get a lot of stick for not being very, I guess, fit or whatever, but we're pretty fit. Like, we play basketball a few times a week. Like, we all run. Like, the hardest part about golf, I think, it is physically draining. We go out to some tournaments where we could have to walk 13, 14 miles in a day, and doing that in 75-degree heat in the sun, like, takes a lot out of you. So we're a lot fitter than people think, and I don't think we get credit for that, but, we're okay with it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. We always joke around about the whole, like, not being physical in a sport and everything like that, but we work out, 3 to 4 times a week. We run almost every day, and I mean, probably the hardest part is probably, like Oshin said, is it's just being out there. It's both physically and mentally. It's a grind because, like, we were down in Savannah, Georgia, a week and a half ago, and we were at the golf course from 7 a.m. till about 5:30 in the afternoon, playing golf all day. There's no break, so it's just both physically and mentally. It's just a grind both ways.
Yeah, so let's have a little more fun here.
Okay.
Each of you guys give me, like, what's the craziest shot you've ever hit? And you're like, wow, how'd I hit this?
Oh, God, you can go first, I guess. I got to think.
No, me too. Craziest shot I've ever hit. In a tournament. Are we saying in a tournament?
In general. It could be in general.
I have multiple times gone into a water hazard, taken, most of my clothes off and played a couple shots out there. I actually hit one out of a water, a couple weeks back over winter break when I was back home in Florida, and hit a pretty good shot on the middle of the green, made birdie from like 200 yards out in the water, which is that's probably up there, and probably I'm gonna say top 10 shots. I don't know if it's the craziest, but it's definitely one that I'll remember for a while.
Save yourself a few strokes there too.
Yeah, I saved myself probably 3 or 4. Yeah, so it was nice. It worked out. Got the pants a little dirty, but that's all fun and games.
Yeah.
Craziest shot I've ever hit? Well, being from Ireland, we don't have that much, like, in terms of wildlife, like scary animals, blah, blah, blah. So, like, 2 years ago, we went down on spring break. We go down to Florida every year, and we were down at Jupiter Hills Country Club, and I'm playing with Coach Burke. And I hit my ball long in this par 3. It's only about 5 feet over the green, and walk up, and there's a little baby alligator. Now, mind you, I've rarely ever seen alligators before, so I don't really know what to do. And Coach Burke's like, oh, go on, just go hit it. I walk up, go to hit it. I'm like, whatever, he's not going to do anything. This thing, like, jumps, goes into the water. I start freaking out. I'm running away from the ball. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that again. I didn't even hit the shot, but that's still the craziest shot I've ever hit.
Yeah, that's a Coach Burke story, too, to throw in there. He's like that. He'll just be like, yeah, nothing's going to happen, just to see how we would react. So.
Yeah, double back. Might as well cover both your bases with one story there.
Yeah.
I will say for sure. I mean, like, also, I gotta say, it was pretty cool. I also worked some of the basketball games, the production side. We got to see you guys get the rings at halftime this year. So, like, how cool was that being able to like be recognized like at half court at one of these basketball games at halftime?
Yeah, it's been great for the last 2 years going out there at halftime and having our families around us and everything like that. It's a nice. It almost feels like it's a family tie at that point because it feels like not only is it just the golf team and our families like personally, but then it feels like all the student athlete base is kind of behind us when we're walking out there, and it's nice to look up in the stands and not only see our immediate family but our student athlete family up there supporting us as well.
Yeah, no, it's a great feeling. A lot of people, they don't see kind of the work we do behind the scenes. Like, we do practice a lot, like a few hours every day. So to get honoured at the basketball game is definitely nice. And as Justin said, to get to see everyone when you walk out on the court, like, it's a good feeling. Having Matt Glavatsky there tap you up on center court, nothing better than that.
Yeah, shout out to Mac Levatsky.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I gotta say, it's also was cool. I was talking to Sean, Coach Burke earlier this year. He was so excited that you guys got the new putting green this year. How awesome has that been for you guys to be able to like practice putting on campus?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a game changer. It's something that we've kind of wanted for the past few years, but never thought we'd get, especially in my 4 years here. But now that we've got it, it's definitely, we're a step ahead of every other program in the MAC. It's actually in very good condition, and I think shout out to Mike for that. He looks after the green for us. He's always up there grinding just as much as we are. So, couldn't thank him more for all the work he's done. But yeah, it's definitely a big help having a green like that.
Yeah, I was up there actually right before he came here, and Mike was up there. He's always trying to put in something new to keep us one step ahead of the game. And as Oshin said, we're the first school in the MAC ever to have an on-campus facility, real live green or any sort of something like that. So that's one step ahead of everybody else in the MAC. That is to our advantage. And Mike and the whole maintenance crew. It's Mike, but the maintenance crew also helped. They've been just fantastic to us, and they've kind of taken us under their wings, and they're showing us how to keep the green in a certain not perfection, but try to keep it as good as possibly we can. So it's been great. It's been a great advantage. So I'm hoping the weather stays as nice as it is, so we can get out there a lot more.
Out of curiosity, as I'm not very familiar with like the practice starts. Like, obviously you can't get a full golf course on campus. So like, how do you like practice, get ready for these tournaments?
Well, we have our indoor net and mat, which we have a foresight for. It's an online simulator that was pretty expensive that we got donated to us. So we use that for kind of the longer shots that we need to hit, and that gives us a visual and gives us numbers. And then for the short game aspect, we have the outdoor chipping green, so we can go up, we can just kind of get everything in tune. And then when we get to a tournament, it's just kind of, again, fine-tuning that. And then just once this side of the season comes, we go down to Florida, we're out in the course. It's just kind of putting everything together and like getting the whole package.
Yeah, it's just the cold months is when we kind of get the back end of the stick. Obviously it's nothing we can control. It's Mother Nature, but yeah. So we're indoors probably right now for the next 3 weeks, but we're going to be down in Florida for spring break and everything. So after that, weather should be nice. We'll be back on the course. So we'll probably be playing outdoors 3 to 4 days a week, and then range time. So the indoor facility and like the putting green will get a lot more use, and the indoor facility will kind of wane off of that a little bit, which will be nice to have. It's nice to see a golf ball fly in the air than rather into a simulator, but it'll be good.
It is definitely good, and I'm going to throw this out there too. We'll take the Max out. We'll take the UCD out. What's your favorite tournament to play in?
Personally, I love the Lehigh Invitational. I've been successful down there the past few years, but I just love the course. I love the area. It's a good field, and it's usually nice weather. We've had last year was pretty cold.
Yeah, last year was a little cold.
Oh, we won that last year.
We did. We won that last year in the cold, but that's a great event.
But yeah, that's my favorite event.
Take Max out of it. What's your favorite event? I was gonna say Max. I'll probably go Lehigh as well. Lehigh is just run very well. It's almost run like a MAC event. You have really good teams there, and and the tournament's just really well run, and the tee gifts and everywhere you stay, it's just really nice. So I'll second him. I say Lehigh.
You hate the 18th hole.
I don't like the 18th hole at Lehigh, but I like the tournament.
So you see, it is tougher to be a golfer than people give it credit for.
There you go. You said it for us. We didn't have to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It is.
It's a tough game.
If you love it like we do, you're willing to kind of.
We've been. I'll second this kind of. We've been starting to swim a little bit on Fridays, just as something it loosens up our bones and everything. And swimmers will be like, like golf's so hard, and then we'll go swim a 50 in the pool, and we're gassed.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're looking at some of these swimmers and they're swimming thousands. And it's like, how are you doing that? So I feel like it's a trade-off on every sport. You look at a different sport and you say, oh, that sport's harder than, So it's kind of just different in the sense, but every sport has its own individual, like,
specialization.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I'm sure if you took some of those swimmers and said, "Hey, go swing at the simulator for about 2 hours, see how you feel."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely each sport has that kind of niche to it.
Yeah.
That's difficult. Like, I don't know. I feel like we play a lot of sports in our off time, so
Yeah.
we appreciate a lot more. Like basketball, everybody appreciates the basketball team, but track, like we run a good bit, so like seeing what the track kids do, running, I don't know, 50, 60 miles a week. Like I don't know how they do that. But like I feel like there's a lot more people ever since we've won the back-to-back that are kind of appreciating what we do. And hopefully this year we can win again, and then there will be that little bit more appreciation, and then for years to come. Because I remember when I got here, people didn't even know golf was a sport.
Yeah.
So, we've come a long way since then.
You have come a long way. You are the reigning back-to-back MAC champions. Obviously, the bullseye's on your bags. Like, we don't want to let them win a third time. So, like, how do you guys, like, internally prepare for that? It's like, oh, like, they're coming for us.
We kind of use that as fire, to be honest with you. And the MAC always has their little preseason rankings, and it doesn't mean anything because it's just, it's just almost a popularity vote, and it's based on rankings and yada yada. But we were ranked preseason third this year. That's also kind of fueling the flame for us. Doesn't even really feel like we have a target on our back. It almost seems like we're being slept on, but we know what we're capable of. We know we can win down there, and I think if we play our game like we've been doing the past couple of years, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're being slept on a good bit. I think people feel like we've had our time in the sun, and it's kind of, we're just going to do whatever this year, finish second, third, blah, blah, blah. But, I feel like we have 4 of the same 5 from last year, 4 of the same 5 from 2 years ago. And not a lot of people appreciate that. And we have set the bar to a certain level for ourselves. And we know if the only person we can beat is ourselves. Ryder, St. Peter's, they can go out and play really good. If we go out and play the same, we'll still beat them. So it's just about us putting in the work now, and hopefully in, 5 weeks' time, is it?
Yeah,
6?
just about 6.
We just show up and we put the goods on the course and put our money where our mouth is, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I never really understood how you can do a preseason poll for golf, because I'm like, yeah, it's like I feel like sort of like, oh, like let's get the new hotness in there. Like we're sick of these guys. They won twice in a row. Let's get somebody new at the top of the poll.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the first year we won, we were what? 6?
We were 6.
6.
We were
Yeah.
6 in the
9.
preseason, and we won. We didn't. We won by not a lot, but we still won. We were up by a lot, and we still won. But
We almost lost.
it doesn't mean anything, And having them almost not disrespect us, but in a sense where we're kind of being slept on this year is definitely fueling the fire.
Yeah, I feel like we have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder because of it. But we'll use that as motivation. We're not going to go out with the cocky mentality that we're the best. We're going to go out just try to prove everyone wrong, and I feel like that's what works for us, and that's better for us.
Yeah, and I mean, for sure, golf, like, was my last thing. Obviously, like, it's so easy for people to, like, say, like, oh, like, golf such and such and such. But, my theory is, like, obviously, like, it doesn't matter what St. Peter's does. It matters what Ryder does, because really it's all, like, how you're hitting the ball that day, and you're keeping on top of your stuff. If you can control, you control. You can't control if they're going to hit, like, amazing shots.
Yeah.
It comes down to that individual aspect like we were talking about, right? So it's like golf in college is a team sport. But in the sense, it's a team sport, but you're still individually doing it for yourself because you have to go out there and play well individually, and then the team has to play well as a whole. So if everybody plays well individually, then the team will play well in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I just think there's 5 of us. We don't rely on anyone. We kind of just go out, play our own game. If someone has a bad day, then we've got 4 other guys who'll take it up. So, it's a nice feeling. It's nice going out to know that we can't control what they do, but if we do our thing, we'll be thereabouts. And then whatever happens from there, at least we can say we gave it our all.
All right, there you have it. Justin Burkhammer, Oisin Devereaux from the golf team, getting ready for a couple more regular season tournaments before the MAC tournament. Best of luck, guys, the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and there you have it. That was our interview with Oisin Devereaux and Justin Burkhammer from the golf team. For our full interview with Oisin Devereaux and Justin Burkhammer, check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/ICGales.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you.
All right, we are back here. It is time to look ahead to the upcoming week in Iona Athletics. We'll start out on Monday, March 9th. Iona Golf heading down to Daytona, Florida, day one of the Lonnie Barton Invitational. Going to Tuesday, March 10th. Iona Golf wrapping up the Lonnie Barton Invitational down in Daytona, Florida, day number 2 there. The MAC tournament begins for the basketball programs. Both of them got 7 seeds. Women's basketball up first, 7-seed matchup against number 10 seed Monmouth, 11:30 in the morning down in Atlantic City. Men's basketball, they're the 7 seed taking on 10 seed Canisius at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Atlantic City down in the Jim Whelan Boardwalk Arena. Baseball also on the road. They'll be taking on Stony Brook. Go to Wednesday, March 11th. Day number 2, quarterfinal action for the basketball teams. They advanced this far. Men's basketball, if they beat Canisius, will be taking on number 2 seed St. Peter's at 9:30 p.m. Women's basketball, they're taking on 2 seed Marist, who we just heard they played last weekend, at 3:30 p.m. approximately, if they advance out of the first round. Baseball on the road, taking on St. John's. Go to Thursday, March 12th. Iona's representatives at the CSCAA National Invitational in Cleveland, Ohio, will be participating in the Nationals, day number 1 there. Women's lacrosse will be home to hosting Radford at 3 at Mazzella Field. Go to Friday, March 13th. Day number 4 of the MAC tournament, the semifinal round. Women's basketball semifinals, if they're there, will be played at 1:30 in the afternoon. Men's basketball, if they're in the semifinal round, will play at 8:30 p.m. Swimming, day 2 of the CSCAA National Invitational in Cleveland, Ohio. Softball down in Macon, Georgia for the Mercer Bears Classic. The pair of games against Florida A&M and Western Carolina. Baseball on the road beginning a weekend set at VCU, game 1 of that series on Friday. Going to Saturday, March 14th. Final round of the MAC basketball tournament. If the women make it there, they'll be playing at 11 a.m. If the men are in the finals, they'll be playing at 4 o'clock p.m. down in Atlantic City. Swimming, day 3 of the CSCAA National Invitational in Cleveland, Ohio, the final day of that event. Softball taking on Florida A&M at the Mercer Bears Classic in Macon first. Then they'll taking on the host team Mercer. Baseball, day number 2 of their weekend set against VCU. Go to Sunday, March 15th. Softball wrapping up the Mercer Bears Classic, another matchup against Western Carolina. Baseball on the road again, taking on VCU, wrapping up that weekend set. And that will do it for the upcoming week on Iona Athletics. For all the latest news, game times, information, anything you could possibly want to know about Iona Athletics, check out our website, www.icgaels.com. You can also follow us on social media. Just search our handle at @ICGales across all major platforms. You know, the brand new episode of the Iona Athletics podcast coming up next week. But until then, keep fighting the good fight, Gael Nation.
Fighting the good fight.